Hello, I welcome you all to another session of our lesson. Today we have Social Studies for JHS1, and still on our topic for discussion, citizenship and human rights. And today we'll be looking specifically at human rights and responsibilities. I urge you all to listen attentively so that by the end of the lesson, the student will be able to explain the meaning of rights and correctly define human rights. The student will also be able to identify the forms of rights and mention the basic human rights or the fundamental human rights. Thirdly, the student will be able to explain the meaning of responsibilities and also identify the responsibilities of a good Ghanaian citizen, a responsible Ghanaian citizen. Human rights. What do we mean by rights itself in the first place? Rights are privileges conferred by law and nature on an individual because he or she is a member of a community or organization. So privileges that are conferred on an individual by nature or by law because they belong to a community or a society or a state is what we refer to as rights. Human rights. When we talk about human rights, then we are looking specifically because I think animals too may have certain rights. But this time we are not looking at rights in general, but we are looking specifically at human rights. And human rights are freedoms or privileges which are generally accepted that every living person should have or enjoy. Privileges that are generally accepted that every living person should have or enjoy is what we refer to as human rights. And the United Nations is one of the biggest international organizations that is so keen on human rights, and they started recognizing human rights in the year 1984. I'm really sorry about that. Shall we continue? Forms of human rights. Human rights may take the following forms. It may come as natural rights. It may come as natural rights that are inherent in every human being and cannot be taken from them. An example is the right to life, the right to freedom of movement, and so on. It may also come as a political right. When we talk about political rights, we are looking at rights that enable citizens to take part in the ruling or management of affairs of a country. It may also, examples may be right to vote, right to be voted for, and so on. Social rights is another form of human right which embodies all rights that empower an individual to enjoy any social facility without discrimination as a result of their ethnic affiliation, religious affiliation, or any reason. Then we also have legal rights. And these are the privileges given an individual within a given legal system. Within a legal system or by a legal system. The privileges that an individual has and is given to them by a legal system is what we call legal rights. An example is right to sue, right to be sued, right to fair hearing, and so on. Then have economic rights. We also have economic rights. And economic rights sorry. Let me do this correction quickly before we move on. It's economic rights. Economic rights. These are rights that allows the individual to acquire a job and get equally paid. Example is the right to own property. It's one of them. Now we'll discuss the rest. Okay, thank you very much. Then fundamental human rights. Let's look at some examples of fundamental human rights. Some examples of fundamental human rights that are enshrined in the 1992 Constitution of Ghana are as follows. The right to life, that everybody has the right to live and nobody should be killed for any reason. The right to freedom of movement, that everybody has the right to move around freely without being restricted, provided they are not trespassing. The right to freedom of worship, the right to nationality, the right to security, the right to vote and be voted for, the right to education, the right to fair trial, the right to personal liberty, and so on. There are so many of these rights enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. You can refer to your textbooks for more of them. With rights comes responsibilities. And responsibility is any service the individual is compelled by law to render to the state, society, or community which they live in. And below are some responsibilities or duties of a good citizen of Ghana, like we discussed in the previous lesson. Promote national pride and prestige. A good citizen is expected to defend the Constitution, to pay their taxes. They should be respectful and law-abiding. Good citizens should protect the environment and state properties. And also should take part in communal labor. Communal labor, not communism labor, communal labor. And it's also the responsibility of a good citizen to vote during elections. It's also the responsibility of a good citizen to vote during elections. Finally, we have come to the end of today's lesson. I want you to answer the following questions as a test of your knowledge on what you have learned. What is human right? State 4 fundamental human rights enshrined in the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. Then State 2 responsibilities of a Ghanaian citizen. I wish you good luck. Stay safe and keep learning. Bye bye.